It is a great pleasure today for me because Javier Lopez Martinez represents an ally of this attempt to develop this idea of the geography of higher education. And I'm very grateful that he accepted our invitation, not because it's his birthday, but because he's a very busy person, because he operates at the frontier of higher education policies and practices. He is the director of social impact of Santander universities within the Banco Santander group, and is responsible about the scholarship programs, the institutional relations, and the impact evaluation of the Santander Group support to higher education. But Javier spent the entire life in higher education because before that he was an expert in technology transfer. So on the field, in the trenches of the geography of higher education. He was a science management, and he has a deep understanding and experience of the work of the foundations. He was a vice president of the Spanish Association of Foundation, and he was also one of the main minds of the mastermind of Fondo de Ciencia in Spain. This, it is not enough of what I said. So, Javier, as a first question, please introduce yourself in a better way and explain us what is that Santander Universities is doing to help higher education in most of countries in the world.
Okay, thank you, Rafael, and thank you for inviting me to this seminar, to this conversation with colleagues involved in higher education sector. As you said, my professional career is really connected with higher education, but I've never been an employee of any university, but I've been working with them for more than 25 years. Above all, as you said, science management, even investment in science and so on. In this current position as social impact director at Santander Universities, my mission is to help the Banco Santander to develop their social corporate responsibility. 25 years ago, the bank decided to put the focus in higher education. Every year we are investing more than 100 million euros, around 110 and 20 million euros per year, through different agreements with more than 1,000 universities, above all in Latin America, but in Europe too. In Europe are based in Poland, Portugal, UK, Germany, and Spain. And in Latin America, in the most relevant countries as Chile, Argentina, Mexico, and Brazil. We are based too in North America, but these two big regions, Europe and Latin America, are the most relevant for us. As I said before, more than 1,000 agreements with universities, and through these agreements, we donate financial support, we donate money to the universities to develop different activities, sometimes research, sometimes scholarship, sometimes fellowship for research as well. But finally, we are trying to put the focus in collaboration with the universities in 3 E's. The E of education, facilitate the access to education, above all for the underserved population. The second E is employability, how we can improve the skills and competences of the students and graduates to face the labor market challenges. And the third E is entrepreneurship. We are doing more things, but these 3 E's compose the narrative for Santander Bank support to the higher education sector. We have a 4 pillar that is not connected with the 3 is digital transformation. In some way, we are supporting the activities of the universities to tackle the challenges connected with the digital transformation, not only to help society, but also as an object of the digital transformation. The university should develop a lot of changes to face the digital transformation challenges. And this is the first approach of the role of Santander universities. We are helping the higher education sector. We don't say to the universities what they have to do, but we try to help them to have the right conversations, to the right reflections in terms of guiding or helping them to go to the next steps. I am not listening in this moment.
Julia,
apologies. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Javier. I think that was concluding your first answer. So now let's discuss about how you help universities to connect with their innovation ecosystems. And in particular, how the digital transformation is affecting these connections. Over to you, Javier.
Thank you. Thank you for this question, and this is very, very relevant for Santander University. I'm going to share with you 6 reflections and organize these 6 reflections in 2 groups. 3 reflections about digital transformation of the university institution as an object of the digital transformation, and 3 reflections about the role of the university in the digital transformation of society as an actor of the innovation ecosystem. Putting the focus on the first reflection could be technological change or change in the university model. When people speak about digital transformation, we are thinking about big data, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and everybody thinks that how can I say, the challenge is the technology itself. No, the technology is only a method, as a way to transform the university, and probably the main challenges is to transform the way that the university serves the teaching, and the way that the university does the research, and so on. The technology is only an element to do that. We know that the labor market is changing a lot through the automatization of the processes, even through the application of the new technologies. But probably the challenge for the higher education is how we have to change our way to work with our stakeholders. I'm going to put an example to explain that. For me, a very good reference is the Georgia Tech University. I recommend the lecture of a document that is under the title Deliberate Innovation Lifetime Education. Is part of the strategic plan of Georgia Tech, and is based in 5 pillars. And the first pillar is comprehensive and personal education. They put the focus on the skills and competences that the university should serve to the students, and they are going to use the technology as a way to do that. The first way is, well, they are changing from a face-to-face model to a hybrid model. And they are thinking that the campus is not the only space to have relationships with the students, but also the virtual environments. And they are thinking that the campus is not the Atlanta campus, is the world. And they are using the technology, they are improving a lot the learning management systems to have the opportunity to reach a big audience, and not only the audience that is living at the campus. In the same way, they are developing new formats and approaches to serve the training activities. They are not thinking only in degrees, postgraduate programs, so on, but they are developing micro-credentials, nano degrees, and different formats more adapted to the needs, to the society, to the needs, to the students, even to the needs to the industrial and corporate sectors. They are open to collaborate with other companies, institutions, universities, and finally they are serving in a different way. They are using the technology to serve in a different way their training programs and even to do their research. One of the main pillars of this strategy of Georgia Tech is they are going to use artificial intelligence to assess the decisions of the students. They are going to analyze the performance and the preferences of the students, and they are going to give, they are giving feedback continuously to the students to make the better decisions. For example, if it could be useful for me or not to do a bootcamp. Why not if I am thinking to develop my career in the digital sector, or to do any specific program based on soft skills. Continuously, the artificial intelligence is using to help students, to help teachers and professors to make the better decisions. Even they are developing the virtual coach as a virtual coach that is helping the students to develop their activities in Georgia Tech. All of these 4 pillars, the comprehensive and personal education, new products and services, accompanying the students with artificial intelligence, the virtual tutors, finally allow the development of the 5th pillar, that is the campuses, a global campus distributed around the world. For me, this is a very interesting example about how the technology and the digital transformation challenges should transform the higher education institutions. And from my point of view, the cultural challenge is more relevant than the technology challenges. Other comments about that. If you analyze a report of 2019, I think that the International University of Association, in this report they describe how many universities in different regions in the world have learning management systems to serve hybrid and virtual teaching or training activities. And the percentage is more than the 70%, and you can think, okay, this university is prepared to face this kind of challenges. But if you analyze a report developed by the Inter-American Development Bank, I'm seeing here Juan Carlos Navarro from the IDB. This report was prepared in collaboration with the Tech of Monterrey University, and asking directly to the teachers, not to the chancellors or the academic leaders, asking directly to the teachers. The teachers say, well, yes, my university has a very good learning management system, but I don't know how to use that. The 85% of the respondents said, I don't know how I can use the learning management system to serve my training programs to the students. That means finally it's a cultural challenge how to face the digital transformation of the higher education institutions. If you don't train your teachers, if you don't train your staff about how to use these new opportunities, you are going to have a big problem to be faced in the near years. In this direction, for example, the European Commission has a very interesting tool. I don't remember exactly the name in this moment, but it's a tool to do a self-assessment of the teacher skills to serve virtual classes, to serve hybrid classes or programs. And it's being used in this moment by a lot of universities that are members of our network. And this is a first step to understand what is your position today and what could be the plans to move in the right direction. This is one of the and the final reflection about that, and it's very relevant in Latin America, perhaps not in Europe, but in Latin America, yes. This is, I'm going to see what is the expression in English. Somebody can help me, brecha digital. I see that is a gap divide or something similar.
Digital gap.
Digital divide.
Oh, yes, a digital gap. A lot of students in in Latin America has not the option, has not a laptop, or has not the option to connect to the virtual campus of the universities. In some countries, it's more than the 30%. Well, it's very relevant because, well, you can have the best teachers, you can have the best learning management system, you can have everything, but if 30% of your students cannot have any connection with your virtual campus, well, you have a big problem. This is the first reflection. Second reflection, where is my campus? Where is my campus, and how we can use technology to extend radically my campus? That means to extend the competition too. I'm going to use another example to explain this idea. If you go to the MIT Professional Education website, you're going to see that they are offering in this moment the best programs that they are normally serving face-to-face in campus. They are transforming these programs in virtual programs, really in blended programs. They are combining virtual contents plus coaches, mentors, and so on. And they are offering the same contents that normally serve in the campus. And they are translating into different languages these contents. The first, Spanish. Second, Portuguese. But today they have, I think, seven languages, or their contents in 7 languages. And if you speak with Clara Piloto is the leader of this project at the MIT. For her, the campus is the world. And that they are extending a lot the number of students. I think any university should follow this experience, because that means that MIT is competing with you in your own region, cities, or countries. Probably we are going to see that the top universities, Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Oxford, Cambridge, and so on, they're going to take a very relevant part of the market, competing with the local universities. And not only that, even these top universities are arranging collaboration with big technology companies to face this opportunity to extend the market, to extend the campus. Even if a chancellor says, okay, no, I will be in my traditional way to serve in my campuses, the training activities and so on. It's not my business. I'm not competing with MIT. No, you are competing. You are competing. And you should do something about that. Even the quality today of this kind of training programs is very good. They, for example, the MIT is comparing the performance of the students when they develop the training activities at the campus, the face-to-face traditional approach, with the satisfaction grades with the students that develop the same contents but through the virtual approach, and the standards are the same. The same, no differences. Well, I recommend, for example, follow 2 companies. One is, I don't know, he's from South Africa in this moment or American, because it's called Get Smarter. Get Smarter was bought by a big company, American company that is called 2U. And probably they are the leaders in the world, helping top universities to transform their contents, the traditional contents, in blended plus virtual contents. For example, Get Smart is working with London School of Economics, with Oxford, Cambridge, with MIT, with Harvard, or other company that I recommend that you can follow is Global Alumni, and this company is an equivalent of Get Smarter, than the companies helping MIT, Berkeley, UCLA, Chicago University, or Spanish university like ESADE, and so on. And they are leading this change. Where is my campus? probably in the future, the campus is the well.
No, Javier, this is super interesting for us, but then I have a twofold question. The first is about foresight for the education. So where do you think the system is going? Because is towards a big agglomeration or higher education in the sense, you know, platform everywhere and the disappearing of smaller universities. What do you see? And the second part of the question is about ecosystems. So how MIT, Stanford, the big name, can serve or can connect to entrepreneurship ecosystems that are based on SMEs, that are based on very specific sectors. So how do you see that?
Great question, and it's part of my of my reflections. Excuse me. Well, this example is a good example. The MIT is transforming the contents not only to extend the campus, but also to reach new audiences. For example, startups companies, or how MIT or these kind of universities through these new approaches can help companies to challenge or to tackle, excuse me, the digital challenges. And they are working in this direction. But I have a very interesting British example that is the Institute of Coding. And the Institute of Coding is a partnership or a consortium led by 35 universities. The leader is Bath University, University of Bath. But they have a strong collaboration with Tech UK. Tech UK is the most relevant association of technological companies in United Kingdom. And together, they are identifying what are the most demanded digital profiles to design training programs, sometimes bootcamps, sometimes other kind of training activities, to train the people and to help the industrial sectors to have the right talent for their challenges. And this a very interesting approach, how universities can assume a role as a part of the innovation ecosystem, a very relevant role of a part of the innovation ecosystem. Another very interesting example is CUNY, the City of New York University. They are leading in New York a project that is called New York City Tech Pipeline. Don't remember completely the name. That you have the name in some part of my presentation. Well, in any case, I don't know, don't remember exactly the name, but CUNY is leading. Well, CUNY is finally the council of the New York City. They are leading the digital transformation of the city of New York, above all through training the talent and involving the technological companies based in New York in the process. For example, they have a train the trainers program that the best employees of the technological companies are teaching the teachers to extend radically the number of people that is going to adapt the new competences of the digital profile sector. And the leader is CUNY. That means that the university can assume very relevant roles in the innovation ecosystem, using the most important, the main capabilities that they have, the capability to teach or to do research. And from my point of view, it's a very interesting role that the universities can assume as a main stakeholder of the innovation ecosystem. I don't know if I can answer your question, Rafael, or you need more details about that.
No, thank you, Javier. I mean, I think that the fact that we are observing the creation of platforms, you know, with universities, but also with other
questions. The traditional platform, and I said the traditional, Coursera, UDX, today we can say are traditional. Even I don't know what will be the future of these platforms. Why? Because finally it's a marketplace of MOOCs. But today you need more services. For example, I recommend you to see the website that is called ine.com. It's an American company that is serving training pills for digital profiles, but they assess you through different tools to help you to make the right decisions. What kind of contents I should use to improve my skills. They are guiding you, combining your preferences, but asking you about your competences, and it's more than a big market offering you 3,000 contents, but you have a lot of complications to make your decision. One of the problems today of Coursera or EDX is that they have a lot of contents and the user has no clear pathways how to use the content that they are serving through these platforms. Udacity is a very good example. Udacity have a very curated contents, again, focus on digital skills. But the most relevant point is that they are helping the user to make the right decisions. And I think that the new platforms should offer these kind of services to help the users to make the right decisions. The example that I put before, the Institute of Coding is collaborating with the British government, and British government is offering a tool to assess the people to make the decision what kind of training activities I should do or improve my professional career, and finally suggest a lot of the contents that the Institute of Coding is offering through their platform. And I think that we are going to see more experiments like that.
Thank you very much, Javier. Super interesting, but also, you know, we have a lot of questions from our participants. So I give immediately.
I can react to your questions. I have my reflection, but I can stop here and react to your questions. And
yeah, let's go to
some elements.
Absolutely. Let's go to the Q&A session, and I go to Anne. Anne, the floor is yours.
This is the most vibrant chat we've had in a really long time, so it's been great to see all the comments. People are loving it. So I think we're going to try to group some questions together, and hopefully those who posed them won't be offended in how we did that. So I think one of the first questions was about universities have a really strong social, cultural context. And these sort of global digital campuses you talk about, how do we achieve that without losing a university that's sort of tied to its community and has a sense of its civic responsibilities?
Well, thanks, Anne, for your question. Finally, I think that in the middle, we are going to find the right solution, and hybrid approaches would be probably the right approaches, combining face-to-face activities, traditional activities at the campus with virtual activities. Even we are thinking how even think about mobility, and how we can improve the competences of our students facing the mobility challenges. Normally, we think about mobility that somebody is going to spend 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 1 academic year in the campus, physically, face-to-face. And it's a very good experience. And we are thinking in this moment in intercultural mobility. But are the 3 mobilities that should be considered, in my opinion. And finally, to the hybrid approaches, you can work with the 4th mobilities. The second is virtual mobility. How we are working in this moment. Virtually, we are working in a network, we are seeing your faces, we are having a discussion, and today is very normal for the students too, for the researchers too, and we need to train people to have a virtual mobility. You are going to work in international projects without hierarchies, in different languages, with different cultural approaches, and you need to train the people to manage a virtual mobility. The third mobility, the first is international or intercultural, the second is the virtual, the third is interdisciplinary mobility. We need to train the students to work with these different disciplines. You are leading in UK this possible degree that you can make as a student your own decisions to compose your degree with subjects from different disciplines. I'm normally here, I'm working at the bank, but I'm working with lawyers, but I'm working with mathematics, with people specialized in mathematics, so I'm working with different specialists. I should be open to understand the approaches from different disciplines. And the hybrid approach is very useful to develop this mobility. And the fourth is intersectoral mobility. That means that we need to introduce the stakeholders in our campus, virtually or physically. That means companies, NGOs, foundations, and so on. If we manage the training activities, our research, combining these four mobilities, we are going to prepare our students, we are going to prepare our researchers better for the future. And the hybrid approach probably is the best approach to face these challenges.
Thank you. I'll pass the microphone on to Maria for the next question.
Thank you, Javier, and also thank you for being here on the day of your birthday. So we have a really a lot of questions, and another question we picked up from the chat is that, well, following up on your reflections, is do you want to say something else about how do you promote apprenticeship and experimental learning in a virtual context? And the second question would be, do you know of any studies that compare the employability of students that follow normal face-to-face curriculum with the students that that are now starting a blended or a virtual curriculum?
Okay, very good question, Maria. Please, remember the first question because I put the focus on the second. Please remember the first question to prepare the answer.
Yeah, so just to follow your point on how to support the transition to fully a digital university and introducing stakeholders to
okay, yeah, well, it's connected with intersectoral mobility that I comment before, and explained some minutes ago, for example, the potential of collaboration between companies and universities, and the example of the Institute of Coding is working in this direction. A very interesting idea to be followed. In US, you can identify more than 60 universities collaborating with bootcamps for preparing the students to go to the labor market. What are the bootcamps? Competitors or co-competitors or cooperators? Well, I don't know what we can describe that. If I, as a student of any university, if I do a bootcamp, it's an equivalent of a ECTS recognized by universities as part of my degree. It's a new title. It's a professional certification. What is that? If you analyze these 60 universities, you are going to see all the options. In some cases, universities are including bootcamps provided by private companies at bootcamps as a part of the curriculum for a degree or for a master. In some cases, training specialization programs of the universities include bootcamps as a part of the program to serve, for example, professional and executive education to companies or the long life learning part of the market. And in some cases, the bootcamp is only they would use the campus as a space to reach the university audience. Or you can see, for example, a collaboration with Colombian University, with Berkeley University, adding digital programs as a part of any degree of the university. That means that you can finish your degree as a journalist with plus a digital certification, because they are trying to help the students to be better prepared to face the labor market. And you are going to see this normally. And in this sense, virtual training are so useful, because nobody from Berkeley University is going to Colombia to serve the training programs. The training programs will be served through virtual or hybrid approaches. In some cases, Berkeley University is training Colombian teachers. In some cases, serve directly with the collaboration of global alumni. I mentioned this company before, from Los Angeles to Colombian universities through virtual platforms. And we are going to see every day this kind of approaches. And it's not so clear who is leading who is leading these training activities. Is Berkeley? Is the Colombian universities? Or is the bootcamp? Trilog, this is a very relevant bootcamp that is collaborating with a lot of universities, not only in US, but also in UK, or are the universities? I don't know. Please remember me the second question. Maria, can you remember?
Sorry. I was muted. And so the second question is just if you know of any studies that compare the employability between students that that follow, a traditional face-to-face curriculum with those students that follow a hybrid or a digital curriculum?
Well, not so much. I have the example of MIT. They are comparing the face-to-face approach and virtual approach, and as I said in my explanation, they are reaching the same metrics, but to be more disruptive, why not compare a degree of 4 years in STEM with a bootcamp? Compare 4 years with 4 months. I recommend you to read a report prepared by Wharton School, is the business school of Pennsylvania University, analyzing through LinkedIn the career of people who have a degree in engineering, and in the same period, people who reach bootcamp certification. 4 years compared with 4 months. The two groups reach the same positions, the same salaries. And in the case of the bootcamps, around 65–70% of the participants without a STEM background. For me, it's a very interesting figure to have a very interesting discussion about what kind of formats universities should serve to help society to face the automatization or digital challenges. I am not criticizing the degree, but probably the universities, higher education, should extend the formats. The case of Georgia Tech is working in this direction. Okay, you can offer the traditional degrees, you can offer the traditional master, but you can include in your offer, you can include short programs, collaboration with bootcamps, different approaches to try to fit your training activities to the needs, to the society, to the needs, to the innovation ecosystem, and so on. And you can identify, even Juan Carlos Navarro, that if he's in this meeting, Juan Carlos Navarro developed a very interesting research about bootcamps in Latin America. And I recommend you to read the report, because you can identify 3 or 4 insights that you could consider incredible. it could be possible to train people without experience in technology, without STEM background, transform these people in 4 months to be a coder? And the answer is yes. Not only is yes, the answer is yes, and in the same position and with the same salary with a 4-year degree. Wow. The Institute of Coding is facing that. The Institute of Coding, for me, is a very smart approach because they are involving companies, but they are putting on the table the best capabilities of the higher education sector in UK to help the innovation ecosystem to face the challenge.
George, sorry, Maria. George, do you have a question to ask?
Yes. Last question. There's a lot of examples that you made about universities such as MIT or Oxford, and one of the questions was, how should universities innovate without having to mimic these big universities that may have more resources? Thank you.
I think that small universities cannot mimic. They should follow different approaches. In my opinion, European Commission through the European University Code can help a lot small universities to work together with other universities and to put together different capabilities to compete in this new market. Probably the small universities should combine specialization with alliances with other universities, even to share the expenses for the digital transformation, for example, even to offer these 4 approaches of mobility. Well, if, for example, I am a student alumni from Santiago de Compostela University. We are in the north of Spain, and in the periphery, and this but Santiago University is a very good university, for example, in genetics. Very good, really well. It's competing really well. And Santiago University can have a collaboration, why not, with Imperial College in London, with Sorbonne in Paris, and with a small university in the south of Italy, and create a cluster of knowledge, and to try to be a reference in some topics, even for doing research or for offering training programs. And it could be a way to compete in this new environment. And you can extend your campus using the campus of Sorbonne de Paris, using the campus of Imperial College, and you can offer degrees combining ECTS from the different universities and try to be more attractive to your students, even to, for example, to be more attractive for Latin American students, but they can offer, you are going to reach a degree, a European degree, combining the training offer of 3, 4, 5, any relevant universities. Probably the small universities should follow different approaches than the biggest. And the biggest probably are going to work deeply with the big technological companies. If, for example, Harvard collaborate with Google, or Oxford with Microsoft, or Stanford with Amazon, a lot of universities and companies should follow these movements because they are going to change completely the environment.